tiny community in Oliver Springs, where I lived with my grandmother, was known as Frogtown. This is a picture of some of the neighbors as I was growing up. First, the family that had no understanding of birth control. At least, that is my adult assumption, as there will always seem to be kids running around for me to play with. I loved visiting there because there appeared to be no restrictions on our behavior. My favorite memory is the 3-year-old breastfeeding on the front porch while we played in the yard. Another of my favorite places to visit was the home of an older couple who had no children, so they more or less adopted me. The only names I ever knew for them were Meaty and Grover. They fed me a lot of cold biscuits, and when I was about 12, Grover taught me how to shoot a .22 rifle. Then there were the sisters who took in washing and ironing. The two sisters were stereotypes of size and personality. One was plump, jolly, and full of fun. The other one was lean and sour. She was married to a man with a heavy German accent who worked in one of the local coal mines. There were no children. The three of them had shared a home for as long as I could remember. When World War II broke, he was tolerated, although somewhat suspiciously, because he had lived there for so long. But ultimately this changed when the plump, jolly sister became pregnant. He was no longer accepted. Then we had the Browns, the owners of one of the small mines where the local men worked. They were the only people in the community who had a telephone at that time. When we needed to reach my mother, I was a designated caller. I would visit the house and politely ask to use the telephone, and I was always strictly admonished by my grandmother to be sure to reverse the charges. One of the nicest memories I have of this community was a lack of class consciousness. The Browns were just one of the families living in Frogtown. They only stood out by having a slightly nicer house than most of us, and of course the telephone. One of the anomalies of Frogtown was a family of two sisters who earned their living by selling milk and butter. Now, in and of itself, this was in no way unusual. The only unusual aspect was that they were of African American descent, or, as we said in those days, colored. In a small community that had an unofficial but stringent curfew for coloreds, I found this highly unusual. But I loved visiting there and being allowed to churn the milk into butter and eating biscuits smeared with the fresh butter. Our one person of note was Colonel Hanna. He and his wife lived in what I saw as a southern mansion. It was a large white house with a balcony over the porch and two tall, round white pillars alongside the front door. Most impressive. Colonel Hanna kept a parrot, which had the obligatory "Polly wants a cracker" a whole day, or so it seemed to me. He also had a peacock that strutted around displaying his tail feathers all the time. My grandmother managed to pick up some of the feathers and showed them off on our living room wall. One of my most amusing memories concerns the Hannas. They suddenly come in for a visit. It seems that he was away studying opera and chose to practice his art while standing on the balcony. Now, it's just about impossible for me to describe the feelings of a 12-year-old who had heard nothing but country music, well, maybe a little pop, all her life. Let's just say I did not give him a favorable review. One cannot give a picture of the population of Frogtown without mentioning the Baptist church. It was typical, white, on a hill, and filled with uncomfortable pews. I know because my grandmother played piano for the church. Therefore, I was dragged along every Sunday or for any other event that required my grandmother's presence. And it was populated with typical deacons, old, somber, dried-up men. Well, that's the way I saw them. And every one of them could pray for at least a half hour at a time. Their voices would rise and fall as if they were preaching. to help the time pass, I would hum along as they prayed until one time when my grandmother heard me. That stopped that. And of course, one cannot leave the community without mentioning the outhouses. We were only able to give ours up in about 1946. We did get electricity when TVA came in, sometime in the 30s. I do have some fond memories, blackberry picking, going barefoot until my soles were like leather, and I could walk on the gravel road without flinching, eating fresh vegetables I had helped plant, hilling up potatoes and digging them out when they were ready, and the kindnesses the adults showed me as a lonely, only child. My childhood home has now been transformed into an ordinary small home with no traces of the three-room house with a wraparound porch that was heated by a coal stove and a fireplace. The gravel road that once fronted it is now paved, and chickens do not run loose in yards. The Hannah house is still there in all its glory, but with no more parrots or peacocks. I don't imagine it's known as Frogtown anymore, but that is what it will always be to me.